Hello there. This is Politics on Sunday. I am Femi Akonde. Life in Nigeria is becoming increasingly unbearable for many Nigerians. Our country faces multiple crises ranging from acute economic difficulties to deepening social decay and continuing insecurity. Rather than the situation getting better, it gets worse with each passing day. These are the words of Professor Kingsley Moghalu, a man who will also be on the ballot to become president in 2023.
University students are back home again. ASU is on strike. This is terrible. No nation that fails to invest in its education system can prosper. No nation that fails to invest in education can train young people with the skills to create a productive economy. It is a tragic matter that the government of Nigeria has consistently failed to invest in education. Nigeria is at risk. Nigeria is on the brink. The government that was voted in 2015 to end years of terror to fellow citizens in the northeast of the country. We have watched as insecurity has increased in the north, in the northeast, in the northwest, and in more recent times in the southeast. So you have Boko Haram, you have the bandits, you have the unknown gunmen in the southeast. Police has failed to protect us. The army has moved into civilian spaces, but they have not been able to conquer Boko Haram. We slaves in this country, that people should fail to give you electricity for the past 23 years, and you still go to the polls and vote for them. Do we not value ourselves? What sort of excuse do we give ourselves? What is a democracy if accountability cannot be executed for failure of leadership? We also contribute to the problem when we allow our minds to be captured and colonized by failed traditional politicians of the APC and the PDP. When you vote for only political parties but not individuals, you do not look at the candidates who are before you. You're only looking at party. And you vote in incompetent persons. And then tomorrow you turn around and complain. You contribute to the problem. When you take 5K from politicians for elections, that means that for the next 4 years, the value of your life is 1,000 naira or 1,250 naira. How can we place such little value on our lives?
Now, the Electoral Act that will be the legal framework for that election stirred controversy when the Senate refused to grant President Buhari's request to amend Section 84, subsection 12, which restricts sitting cabinet members from contesting for elective offices without resigning. Now it seems the president has the last laugh as the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice says it will delete the offensive provision from the Electoral Act in compliance with an order of a federal high court sitting in Umuahia. This time, the federal government is swift to comply with an order of court that will give a lifeline to political appointees in President Buhari's administration who are already focusing more on the next election and less on governance. But Kaduna State government had earlier complied with the provision of the Electoral Act and asked serving cabinet members in the state to resign before aspiring for elective offices. Another battleground is the road to the APC National Convention. The fate of other aspirants for the office of chairman and other national offices hangs in the balance. The purported endorsement of some candidates by President Buhari may foreclose any democratic contest at the convention. But the divisions within the APC are still very deep, and it remains to be seen if the conduct of the National Convention will calm frayed nerves and prepare the party ahead of the 2023 general election. My guest on the show is the pioneer National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress and former member of the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, Tijjani Tumsah.
We've seen what he has done in the past. We've seen what he has done in Lagos. Everybody understands the kind of person that he is. He's a man of vision. He has a clear-cut vision for the country. I'm sure that he's going to bring a lot of his experience to further strengthen the security situation of the country. You've always known him to be a lover of economy. So we know that he understands the substance of the Nigerian economy. He is going to bring fresh idea to re-energize the economy of the country and several other sectors. And what we keep saying is that this man has demonstrated over and over again that he's a performer, he's a person that understands the politics of the country, and so we know what to expect. He understands the economy of the country. He understands the people, which is very important. You need to understand the people of this country from every aspect of the country. So he's vastly experienced, and I believe that he will come on board and complete the vision of APC as a party. The whole thing now will move to members of the party to now decide in a democratic manner who do they want. If they are the only two that are contesting, or many others that we had are coming out and will come out, very good. It shows you that there are a lot of competent and qualified people within the APC to become president. So we encourage it. But the most important thing is that it will be subjected to a democratic process. Members of the party will decide who they want as their candidate. And of course, the same will apply in the general elections. Nigerians will decide who they want. And I can confidently tell you, inshallah, Tinubu, Asuwaju Tinubu will have no problem whatsoever. I have said this repeatedly. Whether you apply direct primary or indirect primaries, or combination of direct and indirect primaries, Asuwaju will win.
Your party's national convention is just 1 week away. But let us cast our minds back to how the party birthed in the political space shortly before the 2015 general election and went on to win that election. Not many people agreed that the APC has stayed the course. What went wrong?
Well, actually, I wouldn't say we got it wrong at some point. In any new political movement, there are bound to be hits and misses. We may have missed a few opportunities, which are of course recoverable. But on the main, the party has achieved what it was meant to achieve. You will recall that the merger was the first of its kind in Africa, and also the ability to do that in itself showed a sense of maturity and purpose for a political party in Nigeria today.
At some point in the life of your party, there was a crisis that almost swallowed it. And to resolve this, Adams Oshomole had to go, and the caretaker committee was put in place and given a mandate to conduct the national convention. But it was observed that this committee foot dragged and was unwilling to conduct the convention. How was this allowed to even happen?
Well, if you recall, Adams Oshomole was the chairman of the party at a particular point in time. Now, the party had a lot of hurdles to cross, and a lot of opinions were countermanding each other. So the necessity for him to leave office. The caretaker committee was saddled with the difficult task of reconciliation, of putting the party aright, doing the registration and so on, to reposition the party in a manner that we have today, that we are now even ready for a national convention by next weekend.
Do you feel all the conflicting interests in the APC can be truly reconciled, or is this an attempt to paper over the cracks?
On the major, I think it has been done. On the major part of it, that is why we are able to hold a national convention. Majorly, a lot of reconciliations have been done. A lot of people have moved over into the party as it is now. So the progress made in the party is substantial, and it will be a very good icing on the cake when the convention holds next weekend and new leaders are elected to carry on with the job of making the party bigger, stronger, and more directioned.
Now, what about the unresolved issues arising from the ward and state congresses? These are still impediments lying in the way of the APC. How will you make them just go away?
Well, majorly, the issues are basically those that are reconcilable, particularly maybe after the convention, when everything would have come to the fore and a new leadership has taken place. Then they will continue with the exercise of reconciling different factions and different opinions within the party.
There are already about 11 aspirants jostling to occupy the seat of the national chairman, but we hear the president may have endorsed his preferred candidate. Doesn't this foreclose the chances of other aspirants?
Well, even if there are much more than 11 people in the race, the need for consensus then becomes more obvious. There's a need to bring the party together and rally around credible leadership within those number of contestants. And that way, there will be little or less rancor going forward in the choice of who leads the party. And there's a need for the party leadership, party followership to come together and agree on who leads the party going forward.
But does this not show a lack of internal democracy by shutting out other contenders from a fair contest?
Don't forget that there isn't any regulation that says people cannot contest for positions that they want to. Now that speaks to the internal democracy you're talking about. What a party, particularly one in Nigeria, seeks to do, and APC is probably pioneering that now, is to have less rancor. And this happens particularly better if you do it in a situation where there's an agreement, there are gives and takes before we come to the field. Coming to the field essentially exacerbates most conflicts. So if we are able to achieve that without having everyone contest at the podium, then I think it is better for the party.
So that confirms insinuations that the peace inside the APC is fragile and the party is trying to avoid a free and fair democratic contest just to minimize rancor.
Peace is always fragile, anywhere you go. Where there's peace and it is taken for granted, then the fragility comes to fore. But in this instance, we are trying to work on a situation where, at the end of the day, the majority of the party would have been satisfied with what has come out as an outcome of the exercise.
Well, for the Governor Mai Mala Buni-led caretaker committee, how have they been able to carry out their assignment and discharge their responsibility creditably?
The end goal for them to really show Nigerians and the world that they have achieved what they were established to do would be the culmination of the convention next weekend. But as far as it goes right now, they are going through the normal vicissitudes that happen in terms of political party administration, but they must have done well. We have had more members come into the party. We have had a lot of reconciliations done. Not all of it, but a lot of it has been done. And they have been able to bring this party to this point now. And this point means in the next 1 week, they would have been able to achieve the deliverance of a new set of party leadership that has been elected in a convention atmosphere.
Well, not everyone likes the influx of people into the APC and the cross-carpeting across political landscape. What is the place of ideology and principle in Nigeria's political system?
That question is probably not mine to answer, because movement from one political situation to another is mostly left to the individual. If you find space in where you are operating and you feel comfortable, most people stay. If you don't find space and you feel if you move on to the next party that that will satisfy you or your followers in terms of your political goals, then that becomes viable to the politician.
Is it not supposed to be based on ideologies and personal conviction?
Ideologies have not been clearly defined in Nigeria. The ideologies that are in the space right now are mostly political ideologies that are mostly personal or mostly ingratiating to whoever the leader is.
Well, your party, the All Progressives Congress, has also produced a zoning arrangement that will determine the power sharing template. Is this a fair deal that can pacify the numerous interests in the party?
Well, I don't see that as happening, because if you look at our experience from the formation of the party, I was one of the signatories to the merger itself. And from there on, there has been an accommodation of all parties that are part of the merger. And that helps in reducing conflicts that may happen because of lack of this distribution. I think APC has done very, very well in that regard. And now everybody in the APC sees themselves as members of the All Progressives Congress rather than members of the legacy parties that they came in through.
Some people have blamed the APC governors for stoking the flame of conflict and rancor in the party, as many of them have become overbearing. How can this tendency be checked? Actually,
you are putting in a position that has been gathering a lot of interest in terms of the influence of the governors within the party. Unfortunately, in Nigeria's political landscape, funding of a party is very, very crucial in making it effective. And in this instance, the governors have a lot of resources to fund parties, and therefore most of them interpret it as who pays the piper dictates the tune. The APC in its formation had as a bedrock of getting financial support established a methodology of getting funding from its membership. Now, that would put a lot of strength in the structure of running the party and give the governors less influence in that aspect. But as it is now, the governors are the leaders of their parties in their various states, and therefore, whether it is what they say that carries the day is a question that needs to be investigated further, because maybe they are also doing things in respect of what their constituents or their followers in those states have asked them to do.
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari is the leader of the party, but he is often slow to speak and intervene to resolve party crises, and this allows the issues to fester for too long.
President Muhammadu Buhari is a Democrat, and I think, I don't speak for him, I think what he is in favor of is that democratic solutions be found for problems that are indeed democratic in nature. So to now forestall that issue of overbearing influence that you just described with the governors, I think it is in right stead for him to keep at a distance until it is absolutely necessary for him to intervene. Otherwise, political solutions, political problems should have political solutions. Political solutions are provided for by the political party members.
What more does your party have to offer, especially as the country moves towards the 2023 general election, bearing in mind that your party is largely blamed for the current issues facing the country?
Well, if you recall, in 2015, when the party APC came to power, there were similar issues burning. And these issues were to a large degree taken care of and at least helped, particularly in the Northeast, which was the major charging point. And we keep also forgetting that in the South-South, there were these issues of the militants in the Southeast and so on. But since the issues have a little bit withdrawn to the back burner, now the issue in the Southwest, I mean the Northwest and other issues that you just mentioned are new and upcoming issues that the government of APC is putting an architecture that may address these issues as we go along. You would notice that the banditry in the Northwest is being attacked frontally. Now, whether the successes made so far are recognizable to the general populace, because right now in their minds is the initial attacks that have happened in the past. And I am sure with the architecture going on, the government of the APC come 2023 would provide lasting solutions to these problems.
Well, let me take your attention again back to the Convention Planning Committee. Who is in charge? Who is running things? Mai Malabuni or Abubakar Sani Bello?
His Excellency, the Governor of Yobe State, Mai Malabuni, is the chairman of the Planning Committee and is in charge of the planning of the convention.
Well, the post-APC National Convention, what will it mean for your party?
It means we have succeeded. It would have meant that we had solved to a large degree the problems that were bedeviling the party before the advent of the Convention Planning Committee. Now, the target for the APC is to be able to produce a leadership that is acceptable to a majority of the members of the party. That does not say that people will not have one or two complaints who have not been accommodated within the party. But in the majority, after the convention, a new leadership structure is going to emerge, and this structure would now conduct the necessary primaries for the selection of a presidential candidate and other offices that are available to be contested for in 2023. And I think we are on the right track.
Is it likely that consensus will be adopted again in choosing your presidential candidate?
It is likely. Consensus is one of the options that is agreed to by the party. Either consensus or you vote.
How then will you prevail on other contenders to drop their ambitions?
Prevalence on the other contestants to drop their ambitions is left for during the negotiations. During negotiations, I'm sure there will be gives and takes. And once that is done, that happens to be what the consensus will be then.
All right, then. Thank you so much for the time on the program.
Thank you.
That is all on the program this week. You can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. You can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Femi Akonde TVC. Thank you for watching. See you next time.